in this Staying Positive COVID series. Every alternate day, we are going to get you an educational influencer, and we are here with one of the gems in the education industry with us. In our launch episode, we had Mr. Anuj Agarwal from Mumbai connecting to us straight from his house in these lockdown days. And today we have a very eminent educationist who has given her 36 years of her life to education, serving the cause of education. And out of these 25 years, 36 years, 25 years at the helm of affairs as principal of a school, Sushila Birla Girls School. Yes, friends, I'm talking about Ms. Sharmila Bose. And she is no new name to people in the education fraternity. Uh, she has always been someone who had taken this cause of girl child, and that is why she has chosen to head the school or be part of the education of a girls' school. So we will get a perspective from her on those account as well. That how is it different to be a head of an all-girls school or different areas. Besides, of course, knowing her how she's handling her COVID days, and we will benefit from her experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Sharmila Bose here to share the screen with us right away. Welcome, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you on Ed Talks with Amitabh, and we have started and launched this series, which was scheduled to go for studio shoots earlier, but then the lockdown has affected our shoots. But then our dreams are not locked. Our spirit is not locked down, so we are going ahead, and we have started this on this 18. And thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this interaction and going live with people.
Hello, Amitabh, and thank you very much for inviting me for this talk. These are really very difficult times for all of us, and we can benefit from this mutual interaction, from chatting with each other, hopefully connecting with others in our fraternity. So, how are you, Amitabh? I hope you're staying properly
I'm
locked
good,
down.
ma'am, and getting the that learning new skills, trying to find new ways to reach out to people and connect to people, and getting an opportunity to get eminent people like you on a platform and connecting with people in our fraternity and even otherwise and beyond.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
ma'am, in these, uh, how this particular question I'm asking almost everyone that for a person like you who has been racing through for last 36 years non-stop, working towards this cause, and suddenly this corona and COVID-19 has brought us to this standstill and a lockdown. I know it's been a lockdown for a lot many people, not for educationists. Teachers and educationists are working harder these days. So, how are you coping up? How has this brought a change in your life at the moment?
Amitabh, I have to be honest and say that I am looking forward to the end of the lockdown and looking forward to resuming life as I knew it. Might have been a rat race, might have been difficult, and deadlines to meet, frustrations every day, but I am looking forward to that. But having said that, Amitabh, everything is in the mind. We are
Right,
physically locked down.
right.
The first week was difficult when we adjusted, when me and my family really, we adjusted to this new reality. One is the domestic scene, which has gone for a toss. The other is figuring out how to carry on some form of an education, some semblance of teaching to the children who can't come to school. So the
Right.
first week was very difficult while we sort of grappled with all these problems. And at that point, the lockdown was for 3 weeks, and which seemed like endless. And then, of course, it was further extended. But
Right.
after the first 3 4 days, I sort of talked myself into a situation. I'm sure many of our viewers and you yourself must have done this. That is, if you can't beat it, then we might as well extract the best we can of this situation. So,
Right.
we are getting something which earlier we never had, which is time. Now,
Right.
like I said, it's all in the mind, how you process it in your mind. So I have chosen to be positive about this. I have chosen to look at this period as a time of, um, you know, rest, recuperation, partly, and also a time to think and plan and enjoy the pleasures of life, of domestic life, and otherwise also that otherwise we didn't have a moment to give to these things.
It'll,
So it's
it'll be very
how we look at this situation. Don't you agree?
absolutely, ma'am. I think it'll be very interesting and intriguing for your students to visualize you with the household chores these days. So,
Amitabh, you want to
yeah,
hear? Yes, I'm having to cook, and I let me assure you, I am no cook. In the first couple of days, I made a dal and sabji for lunch, and my family
right.
wanted to know what dal is this, right? So I've come a long way. YouTube is my best friend.
Okay.
So I'm looking up recipes and trying them and making quite a hash of it, of course.
So,
But
so
nevertheless, once you accept the negative situation, the difficult situation, then you learn to to sort of enjoy that as well. Enjoy the mistakes, enjoy the
absolutely.
difficulties.
Absolutely. And I think, ma'am, it'll be interesting to say that the principal of a school has become a student again during these lockdown days, learning new skill
So
sets.
totally. It's a reality check. You
Yep.
realize so many of the things which you took for granted. Now, when you have to do them yourself, it's
Right.
a reality check.
And ma'am, I would listening to you. I think a very important message I would like to share with our viewers right now. What you said is, I think, very important for people to understand. It's important to accept your situation, questioning it all the time, that why is it happening, what is going to happen to me, entertaining pessimistic negative affirmations and auto suggestions is only going to add to the problem. And that's what you beautifully said, that if you it is a reality that we need to accept and work on positive ways in the given situation.
Totally. Totally.
you know
I've just told
knowing
myself that my
Yeah,
mind is free. Even it's
right.
my body that is under lockdown, my mind is free.
And friends who are listening to us right now, knowing Sharmila ji as a professional associate, as a friend as well for so many years, she is one person who is a die-hard believer. She never gives up in any situation. And what she said just now also is very inspiring. It's a reality that needs to be accepted, and innovative ways needs to be created within the same. Learn new skills, learn new art at the same time. So, ma'am, I would here like to understand that in this journey, in these 36 years of journey in the education sector and 25 years as a principal of a school, uh, what you what do you think uh, is are the challenges of education in India, in Indian scenario?
First of all, thank you, Amitabh, for more or less telling all our viewers my age and making me sound like one of those dinosaurs who have ages and ages. They roamed the world like Sharmila Bose. But
Well,
the
allow me to tell
funny
people
thing,
that it's been almost 28 to 30 years for me as well.
right?
Right,
Yeah, Amitabh, in these 36 years, I tell you, in the first 20, 22 years, every year was pretty much like the last. My
right,
first year in school, my the head of the department, my head, Miss Nain, she had given us certain guidelines, like every
right,
new teacher, this is your register, this is your attendance
right,
register, this is your class register. You fill this
right,
in this way and you teach in this way and so on. and we were going fine for about 2 decades and a little more. And
right,
then, technology entered schools.
right,
And
right,
then we found ourselves really having to adapt to a changed world.
right,
And it's a cliche, but it's true that the children are more technologically advanced than we are, right? So I
absolutely,
can recall the time when we, as teachers, a group of 20 with 10 large dinosaur age PCs, we
right.
learned Word and Excel and PPT.
I
And
know.
so that was one big change I saw in the teaching
Teaching, right,
area. In the yes, that is the advent of technology into teaching,
right,
into education. And I
right.
think now we are at the threshold of another very big change,
G, and
because
that is
we are all, yeah, which is that we are hopeful that we'll get back maybe 10th of June, as the government has said,
right, right,
maybe June, maybe July. But we definitely have to be prepared to do online classes, to impart an education digitally,
right.
because we don't know when we are going to be in a situation of another lockdown where children can't come to school. You know,
Absolutely, and
this has been,
that is a challenge and a concern right now.
yes. And just like we are saluting all the health workers and the police and all that for doing a great job, I
Right,
just want to spend a minute to salute the teachers who are
absolutely,
overnight having to
absolutely,
equip themselves with skills which they don't have. A teacher is
right,
of a certain generation, even the youngest teacher is of a certain generation. And
right,
this technological felicity, this is not what we have. So
right,
overnight, we have had to find tools, equip ourselves with skills so that we can reach out to the children. The first 15 minutes we started this session late because it was
right.
a question of internet connectivity. And for our viewers, let me just say that I am talking to just a black screen because I can't see you. I know you can see me, and hopefully the viewers can see both of us. But so
Ma'am,
holding
allow me to just
classes with autistic,
interject. This is what
yes,
I
yes.
was talking about. People need to know Sharmila ji. She never says gives up in any situation. Even when you can't see us, you're ready because audience and viewers can see both of us together.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes. Yes. So, so we need to take our hats off to the teachers who are
Right,
struggling with a domestic situation without help and all kinds of domestic chores. And at the same time, they're having to prepare lessons, online lessons. Sometimes it is a PPT, sometimes the audio tapes, sometimes they go in for Google Duo or Zoom classes. So
right.
all this, and the average school teacher has a lot on her plate right now, really.
Absolutely, and they are another COVID warriors that the society
Yes,
has right now. And
yes, yes.
what you said, I could there are a lot of humorous visuals are going doing circles in social media as well. While everyone is saying that what to do in the uh, lockdown and what more how to spend time while people are asking these questions, teachers have different set of questions. How to connect to my student in their house, the internet connectivity is not there. How to conduct these using these technologies to reach out to them. uh, they have their lesson plans ready, but then now here's a different classroom altogether, so a new way, new approach, taking a training themselves. Not every teacher is equally conversant with the teaching through online because it's a new experience for all of us, but then they are braving it
Of
up,
course.
challenging themselves to new skills. In fact, what you said a little while earlier, when you took up the journey as a teacher, the new technology that has got into it was PowerPoint, and these kind of things were getting, and
Correct.
that was a new technology coming in. Today,
Right, right,
COVID has
right.
challenged to different heights altogether,
Yes,
and
yes.
allow me to share, ma'am, in continuation what you said. We have a lot of parents getting connected to us, a lot of teachers, the schools which are under our direct supervision, we are managing them. We are getting the feedbacks from parents since the time teachers have started the regular classes, particularly where the children can see their classmates on the screen and the teacher on the screen. It has become easier for them to manage the household. The child's routine has become better. So, which is a great relief to parent and in managing the household in the given situation.
Correct. Children do need routine.
Right,
Children need routine. Children need discipline. If the children have what is can be viewed as an endless holiday, I mean,
right,
they will be the first persons to protest.
absolutely.
They need routine.
And ma'am, I've been emphasizing almost in every social media platform, even in this show, that if ever we needed to be planned uh, and strategic about our life and our day, the time is now. Because
Yes.
earlier days, even if we were not planning, we were programmed. Our day was programmed. Subah utho, bachche ko bhejo, school jao, office jao. There are routine that was fixed. Even if you're not planning, you know what to do next. But then, if people don't plan
Right.
it now, and that is where there's a lot of question that has been asked on social media, that is it a good idea to run the school through online classes and Zoom, how effective it is. I have my take on that. I think one benefit that it is giving to people is uh, helping parents to have a routine for the child, a constructive involvement, and screen time and the mobile and the television had been a challenge for parents. And in these lockdown days, it is becoming more of a resource for parent and everyone and the child. But then using the online classes and technology is helping children to have more, they're getting trained to have a more constructive use of the screen time as well.
Correct.
So, ma'am,
Correct.
what is your take on this?
I've always held this view that in our country we use technology for fun. Not
Yeah,
for information, not for education, not for upliftment.
right,
Even before the COVID days, where every time
right,
we picked up our phone, it was to
right,
check WhatsApp. I mean, people check WhatsApp every like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. People check
right,
Facebook every few hours, right?
right.
So we were viewing technology as entertainment. Now,
Absolutely.
we can see that technology can really help with the serious matters of life.
Offline,
You know,
absolutely.
um,
I am making a forecast at the moment. Very soon, these distance learning schools like NIOS and IGNO and others, I'm sure will have some connection and one model school which is live broadcasted to all the students who want to attend uh, and learn things at their home as well. I think a lot of these possibilities are going to open up in times to come.
correct. But my thinking on this, Amitabh, is that online courses and doing most of your education digitally is going to be a higher education affair.
Absolutely.
Schools are still needed.
Right.
School children need to come to school at least,
To come
up
to
to
class.
class 10, I would say. Because, the social interaction that you have in school, the other skills that you develop, teamwork, um, leadership, you can't do
Right.
that in front of a computer screen.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what we are teaching right now is the English and the history and the geography. Those chapters are gradually
Right.
getting done,
Right.
but there
Right.
are a lot of life lessons which children come to school and develop.
And
you know
that's a different
those.
experience altogether. Uh,
Yes, yes,
in fact,
yes.
you're reminding me of your early education and the college days when we used to learn psychology, where we
Mm,
learned that it is only 20% learning is from what is being taught to a child. 80% is from the environment and the experience that the child gets. So we may be able to
correct.
cover up for that 20%, but then how about the experience? That would definitely be restricted through this online process. But then, on the whole, given the conditions, this is the best medium that is providing the possibility.
Currently, yes. Currently, yes. But
Right,
when people talk about a changed reality, we will get out into a different world, a different reality. That might be true for certain corporates. It might be true for higher education. But my forecast for the future is that it will not be true for schools.
right,
Schools need that physical school building, children, together in a class. They need a
right,
flesh and blood teacher, who can see their reactions, who can see their behavior, and take it forward,
right,
whether it is
right.
teaching the lessons or so many life skills are learnt in school.
It is, and a lot of relationships are built, a lot of life skills are developed,
That's right.
a lot of
That's right.
personality development takes place.
That's right. That's right.
Give me a minute. I could see that there are a lot of people right now watching and viewing us. There are a lot of people have come. We have Saswati Roy, Nidhi Kapoor, uh, Swam, Swamduti Majumdar, Devesh Dubey, Pooja Sharma. A lot of people have joined us. I think a lot of people are wanting to hear from you and learn from your experiences in life. We have Indrani Guha. We have Zeba Khatun. There so many people have joined us right now. And I will take this with your permission, encourage the audience that if our viewers right now, if anyone has any query or inquisitiveness, you feel free to write your queries. We would be more than willing to take your queries as well as we progress in our journey
Certainly.
and interaction.
Certainly. Certainly.
So,
Certainly.
ma'am,
Certainly.
now this brings me to you have been spearheading all girls school, and there are a lot of parents who have this debate going on that what is better for a child, all boys school or all girls school or a co-ed school. Though I do understand that every uh, segment has its own pros and cons. Everything has its own pluses and minuses. But then, what is your take on this? How is all girls school leadership different from other schools?
I would have to say the jury is out on this one. And I don't have a firm conviction that single gender school is better than a co ed school or vice versa. I see successful examples of both.
Right,
And, countries which have for years had co ed institutions now are going back to single gender schools.
right,
And like I said, you have successful examples of both kinds,
right,
isn't it? So over there, I don't have a very fixed view that this is better and this is the way forward. But what I do feel is that particularly in India, there is a huge inequality. And
okay,
I'm so fortunate that my career has been tied with Sushila Birla, where the
right,
motto of our school, vision of our school, is to empower the girl child. And it is whether we are Sushila Birla teachers or otherwise, this is a very big lacune in our society, and this needs to be addressed. And it can't just be addressed in school. This has to be
right,
addressed by families. It has to be addressed by mothers. And I want to know,
absolutely,
if there are any mothers who are currently watching or will eventually see it on Facebook, I want to know that domestic duties are being shared now. If you have children in the house, are you
right.
discriminating over there between what your sons are doing and what your daughters are doing? Even when it
Uh,
comes to the lady of the house and her husband. Tell me, Amitabh,
allow me
what
to
are you doing? What are you doing?
sensationalize the big question that Sharmila ji has raised just now on this show to all the parents watching this show right now. Right now, household chores are being shared. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज आर बिंग शेयर, सब जिम्मेदारियां हम लोग शेयर कर रहे हैं. क्या आप अपने बेटे को और बेटी को बराबर से हर जिम्मेदारी में भागीदार बना रहे हैं या आपकी सोच में कुछ फर्क है? क्या आप लड़कियों को किचन में और लड़कों को साफ सफाई में इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं या आप दोनों को दोनों जगह पे इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं? Ma'am, I can say that in my house, my son's hobby is to go in kitchen. He's a great chef at 7 years of age. He is baking cakes for us and cookies, and so both sister and brother, they are into kitchen. A lot of sharing is taking place. So we are gender neutral. We are working more into gender equity basis rather than inequality. I'm sure most of the parents would be working in that direction. And I would like to give this message to everyone. Friends, this is just the right time when you have the whole family there. Um, I have been asked from different forums to share certain thoughts, and one thought that I've been propagating is just the right time, these lockdown times, to be one with yourself and with your family. Be one with yourself and one with your family, and you have everything that you thought of earlier. कि अगर सब लोग साथ रहते तो ये भी कर सकते थे, वो भी कर सकते थे, हस्बैंड घर पे होता तो ये सपोर्ट मिल जाता, वाइफ अगर वर्क पे नहीं जाती तो ये बेनिफिट्स मिल जाते. राइट नाउ एवरीवन इज टुगेदर. Make the best use of this and make sure there's a greater gender balance at home. After this lockdown, come out as a better India, more gender sensitive India.
Amitabh, I would also like to say at this point
जी.
that
जी.
we see a real erosion of values in our society. We have seen that.
जी.
Corruption is rampant, and in
Right.
very small ways also, children are impacted, young people are
Right.
impacted. They're impacted by what they see the adults doing, and lots of, I mean, lack of deterioration of values has had become a way of life. Perhaps that will be the one big positive outcome of this lockdown, when families are being forced to review their lives.
Right.
In right now, the COVID has played this great leveler. It doesn't matter whether you have millions in the bank, whether you have four cars in your driveway.
Right.
You are as much or as little as the family next to you who doesn't have half of what you have. All right.
Okay.
The real important things in life are coming to the forefront now. A
Okay.
lot of our deterioration values is because of our greed for things.
Right.
More money, more things, more marks,
A lot
everything
of
more and more and
materialism
more.
is creeping in.
That is it. I think, I mean, if families sort of, I'm sure families must be having a lot of conversation now which they didn't have earlier, you know where these kind of things could be highlighted, that I mean, you need a certain degree of money to live well, no doubt, but this running
Right.
after money, this rat race where you sacrifice everything from family time to
Right.
health to your ethics, to for that, this
Right.
obsession with marks that students have. And if you
Right.
study hard and you get the marks, that's fine, but there are so
Right.
many whose health goes because of the way they push themselves, their
Right.
mental stability goes.
Right.
I think this is a time, a reality check, that what is really important in your life and what is not.
And as you quite rightly pointed out, that this lockdown is a great leveler. I think all
Yes,
these material things that we have, had the craving for, is all a secondary. Saving life is what has become important. Saving family is what has become important. Uh, how to
sure.
make our relationships work at home. Uh, वो जो खिलाने खिलौने जिनसे हम खेला करते थे, बच्चे खेल रहे थे, पहले 7 दिन के बाद वो अब बोर हो चुके हैं. तो अब उसमें नोवेलिटी कैसे लाएं, वो रिलेशनशिप की जो मिठास है वही उन चीजों को वापस चेंज कर सकता है. एंड वर्किंग ऑन इवन सुबह से शाम तक एक घर में लॉक्ड एक ही चेहरे रोज देख रहे हैं. इट्स लाइक the sailor on a ship for a 6 month sail and only seeing water all around. And so जितने
Correct.
भी वो 10 चेहरे जो रोज देखने होते हैं, we have to get the best of the social skills to relate well with the people we are meeting every day, and that is our husband, wife, father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister. और
Right.
शायद इससे बेहतर
Right.
वक्त नहीं मिलेगा हम सबको एक दूसरे के साथ एक सामंजस्य बनाने का, एक दूसरे को समझने का, एक दूसरे को लेकर के अगर कहीं पर कोई दुराव था, if there have been differences, I think this is the time to clarify and strengthen the bonds that we have. And as you quite rightly said, ma'am, moral value and erosion and the value erosion that has been taking place. I think it's time to people for people to realize importance of life, importance of family. I think a few extra bucks are not that important because that will not save a life. It is our togetherness and
That's right.
concern for each other is going to save it. So let's get back to
That's
the
right.
values that we always professed.
True, true, true,
And I think
true.
this is why
And
your school has, and probably that is why you've been with the school. Probably you have an influence on the school, or the school has a influence on you. Is I think the motto of the school says uh, serving the girl child, or if I'm getting it right,
empowering, empowering
empowering
the
the
girl.
empowering the girl child. And I think we need to empower the girl child as well as the male child with the right values. It, and let us also not get into this tug of war. Let us make sure that it is empowerment, not it is not about power. It is not the power struggle we are talking about. It is the acceptance of each other in the right spirit is what empowerment we are talking about. And we have a lot of, I can see
Correct.
that there are some comments of your student also saying that you were the best principal, and there are some people connecting. Rumjubi Viswas is there, Ritti Khosla. We have Swati Mittal, Rungta. A lot of acknowledgements are coming up. I think your messages are taken strongly by people. Now, there is Amit Agarwal is saying that after lockdown, will it be safe for children to go to school? I think you did touch upon this little while earlier.
Yeah, but Amitabh and Mr. Agarwal and everybody else, I think schools should be absolutely the last place to open. First of all, it's children we are talking about, and their safety is most important, more important than any other kind of consideration. But just think, Amitabh, a
Right,
school is a true melting pot of the whole city. The way they
absolutely.
come to school,
Right,
I mean, pretty stuffed in cars and carpool buses.
right,
In
right,
school, there is not much distance between children, and
right.
6 feet of separation is a far cry. And
Absolutely.
the most worrying thing for me, let's say,
Right.
as being a school, is that in a
Okay.
school you might have these, zones which are not quite clear.
Right,
Even when we come
right,
back to school, you might have some
right,
pockets which are not quite clear. A
right.
school has children from every locality in the city.
Okay.
So,
Great.
yeah, I think you can open shopping malls and cinema halls. Cinema hall, you can sell every sixth ticket, and
Right, right,
that creates a distance. In shopping
right.
malls, it's adults, it's a choice. You go, you don't go. But if schools open, all children will come. All right. And where can we assure any kind of distance over there? And also,
Exactly.
in a class, you have children from Salt Lake also, Lake Town also,
Absolutely.
Howrah also, South Calcutta also, Gadiahat also. So, whatever the condition of your local area, you're bringing that to the school.
And I'm sure that schools will have the sensitivity to time their opening in accordance with the thoughts that you are sharing right now, because it's difficult to confine the children in the house. It will be very difficult to tell them to maintain social distance while they're in the classroom. And also,
Out
I
of
don't.
question.
And ma'am, I'm sure odd and even roll number argument will not work in a school system to teach the children.
And here where they are trying containment, where they're trying
Right.
separation, in a school, we are all higgledy-piggledy all together.
Right. And that kind of social distancing will not be possible in a school. I think
Not
there
at
has to
all.
be a safe timing to be planned for schools to reopen and parents to send the child to the school as well. And I
Correct.
think
Correct.
online classes are maturing very well. I have a take on this. The attention of the child to the teacher, that one-to-one connect is becoming more on this online classes. The distraction is much lesser. So maybe it may end up being a boon in disguise as children mature into online classes, and teachers also will gain more experience. I think a lot of things will work out to its effectiveness. There is a question
I
by
think
Tintin.
in
Yes,
this
yes, ma'am. Please
process,
go ahead.
what we will see is senior children taking more responsibility for their own studying themselves. You know,
Absolutely.
otherwise in a typical class, say senior class 11, 12,
Right.
the teacher is trying and over again explaining, banging our head against the wall, giving tests, retests, and all. And some children just don't take responsibility for their own
Absolutely.
education. It's
Right.
the teacher's responsibility, it's the parents' responsibility. I think here, under these circumstances, children will become senior children will become
Right.
responsible themselves. But I just wouldn't want this, this technology-driven education to become another divide between people. See,
Right.
I'm talking about education in India overall. I mean, Sushila Birla is a privileged community.
Right.
Here we can assume every child, a laptop, tablet, smartphone,
Absolutely.
has access to it, right? But there are very large parts of our country which don't have access to this. All right,
Absolutely.
Connectivity is an issue, no doubt, even in our families.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
What about connectivity in the suburban areas, in the districts, in the villages?
Absolutely.
So
And there are
this
schools who are facing
online
this challenge.
education. Yes, sorry.
I said there are schools who are catering to suburban areas and in the semi-urban and rural areas. The connectivity and technology, with the technology is a challenge and a concern.
Right.
And we
Right.
should not become
Because
another level of haves and have-nots.
correct. India is a country of haves and have-nots for
Right,
everything, including education. If you can
absolutely,
afford a good private school in a city, you're getting a good education.
right,
So many cannot afford that, and then this
absolutely,
there should not be this digital divide.
right.
Also,
I like
yeah,
this term that you have said that this should not lead to a digital divide between segments of society. It should
that's
not
right.
become
That's
another
right.
segmentation, a cause for another segmentation.
That's right.
I could see a query, ma'am, by there's a concerned parent, Tintin, and she says that my daughter, Kimaya, will be shifting to a hostel in South, but I'm scared because of COVID. What's your opinion on that? Ma'am, I'll take this query if you, with your permission. Uh,
Go
I
ahead.
think it is not about the hostel or a day school. It is about the timing, and every school which will be working will be taking all due steps to sanitize the environment. Every facility will be sanitized before the school reopens. I think it's not about the mode of residential or day schooling. It's about child in an environment where child may be vulnerable. So the timing is more important, as ma'am has pointed out a little while earlier, that even when the lockdown may open, it may not be, the schools will be the last places to open for the children. I think the same will be applicable to residential schools as well. Ma'am, I hope you would agree to this, because I think it's more about the timing than about the nature of school.
Well, certainly, but I think Kimaya's mother's concern would not just be about the physical space that Kimaya would inhabit in terms of a hostel or a day school in Calcutta. It's
Yes,
also, under these circumstances, knowingly do you want your child to go away? When
right,
children who are in hostel, I mean, we are seeing all the quota,
right,
whatever is happening on TV. So, when the family is together, it's a sense of security. Knowing this, that the situation is quite uncertain for a year, for a couple of years, maybe.
right,
Uh,
absolutely.
you know, I can understand why Kimaya's mother is thinking twice about sending her to another city. You
Yeah,
know,
and at the moment, it's becoming an even bigger concern. Lot of
yeah.
people who are sending, they're planning to send their children abroad for higher education right now.
Oh
They
yes,
are very
yes,
concerned, which is going to change in a big
yes.
way. So
Right.
it is a factor. We have
And
uh,
I have to share with you and with all our viewers currently that we are all very worried about the last few board exams.
Okay.
The way I look at the CBSE class 12 exams, there are 29 papers still left.
And that
You
is,
know, and the
how
way
it's going to be managed.
and I can only see a situation where the whole country becomes free and free movement, and only then can you have a board exam. You can't have a board exam for say Kerala, because Kerala has come out of the COVID problem before the other states. I mean, a board exam class 12, a board exam has to, sorry,
No, it's
um,
okay.
yeah, okay, are we all right now? Sorry.
We are all right. Absolutely fine.
Yeah. So a class 12 board exam has to be conducted simultaneously across the country.
Right,
And
right.
when will that be possible? When will that be
Uh,
possible?
it's very challenging. Only anticipations are there. I think you never know,
Yeah.
depending on the length of the lockdown. Maybe it may be declared as
Yeah.
a zero year and everyone is promoted to the next level for this year.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean,
Of
that's
course,
all
I mean
anticipation.
this is the central board's decision. Of course, I mean
Of course.
a lot of thinking and
A
planning
lot of
must be
thinking has to
happening.
go on
But we
behind that.
worry. Yeah.
We
But
are
we
worried,
worry.
absolutely. And as a head of an institution, it's a big concern for these children. And, poor kids, they cannot even study for the next year. uh, and uh,
Yes.
and because they have already midway into it, तो अभी तैयारी भी नहीं हो पा रही है उनकी और they are in no man's land.
Yeah. Right.
So we have a lot of
I
messages of
actually
Ma'am, I'm just
go
saying
ahead.
that
You are.
there are a lot of messages of appreciation coming in, and there is somebody, Shikha Chaudhary Saraugi, has responded to your call saying, "No, ma'am, not discriminating between our sons and daughters whatsoever." So the message is going, message is going very loud and
Right.
clear. Uh, there is,
Also,
I think,
Amitabh, can I say one thing?
yeah, ma'am,
Why just
please.
sons and daughters? Husbands also? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
What are you doing?
My ma'am, it's a total balance. My daughter and son are there everywhere together because that's the only way we can keep them involved. And it's not just during the lockdown time. Generally, we have been encouraging both my son and daughter for every possible work to be done by both of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
gender
no, but
doesn't come into it.
I'm also talking about husbands. I think husbands
Ma'am, I'm a
also.
good cook.
You're a good cook. Okay, great. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's good.
and
That's good.
I'll
That's good.
share with you and I'll share with the audience now that you've asked. I have experimented with a recipe of an ice cream because creams are not available and
Oh,
how to make a soft cream ice cream for the child. So I got
okay.
banana, you cut it off, peel it and cut it off and put it in the refrigerator, deep freeze it, and then take it out and put it in the mixie, churn it with a half cup of milk, and it's a very creamy, delicious ice cream ready for your children. So,
Great, great,
like to be an aside, ma'am, I think there is a query. I think Shikha Chaudhary has mentioned that would also like to add. Okay, she's just giving the acknowledgement that you're empowering the girl child, not the question. And we have materialism is being acknowledged. Neha Upadhyay Bagri has asked, ma'am, could you please tell us what should we do at home to empower our daughters to complement what is being done at the schools?
it would help to know which class this child is.
Ma'am, I think
Doesn't.
let us presume my daughter's age, 13.
See, with these online classes, up to a certain age, class 7, 8, perhaps also, definitely 7,
Ma'am, can
the
I just
parents'
request you to just
involvement.
adjust your screen a bit?
Yeah, sure, sure. Are we
No,
better?
this is better. This is better. This is better. Thank you.
Better? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If the child is, say, up to 12, 13, class 7, 6, 7, even 8, a lot of parental involvement is necessary in translating those online lessons into real learning.
right,
The children might, first of all, they need they need a timetable created by the mother. Now you
right,
sit down to study, this is your time to do this, and that kind of routine must be set by the family. And
right,
then certain sections, maybe, if the child is not able to understand, perhaps the mother can explain, but perhaps the
right.
mother can't. Then, it is, I think, the mother, or the father. Why am I saying mother? I am gender
Absolutely.
discriminating, sorry, the parent. The parent
Right,
has to, tell the child, approach your teacher, approach some
right,
friend, get this clarified, so that your understanding of that chapter, of that unit, is complete. you
right,
know so I think it depends on the, but I mean, children who are in class 10, 11, 12,
right,
they don't need their parents to tell them that seek help, call up so and so, this girl is very good in maths, you can
right,
approach her, or approach your teacher directly. They will do it themselves.
right, right.
So
Absolutely.
it depends on what at what age this child is struggling with all the online
Right,
lessons.
right. Thank you so much for responding to that query, ma'am. I think there's someone who I mentioned, in addition to what you said, students coming from all part of the city. Preeti Soni says true. Also, the teacher and the staff are from all over the city coming together under one roof. So that adds to the
Correct,
situation as well.
correct, correct,
So that
correct.
that would be a challenge, of course. Uh, there are uh, we have there are more people agreeing and acknowledging than the queries today. There is Arpita Bhaumik says, I am of the same opinion with ma'am. My son is in US in the final semester of engineering. Here we are spending sleepless nights worrying about his safety. So, being away, even if everything is okay, is what is causing a concern, the anxiety at the moment. But then I can
Yes,
tell people that
that
once things will be
yeah.
over, a lot of things will be positive.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand. Arpita is our librarian. Her son is in the
Okay,
US. Her daughter is with us. And yes,
okay,
I can understand. That's why, Kimaya's mother, when she asked knowingly to send at this point when others are bringing back their children, if it is possible,
absolutely.
it's an emotional quandary, I'm sure.
Right. So, ma'am, uh, this is, I would like to use this platform to request you to share. Okay, we got one question here from Shruti Sudera. How to help the child who is starting to go to a big school for the first time, using this COVID opportunity as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine that she's transitioning. I couldn't. I mean, do you think she's transitioning from Montessori to nursery, or from class
Yes,
five to
from a
class six?
Montessori to a new big school. That's what
Then
is
there's
the
nothing you can
application
do.
says. Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. Just keep the child healthy at home. That's it.
Yeah,
Make her the time at home,
right.
a little useful with the kind of toys which are educational also. I mean, parents of these little babies, they have a good stock of this kind of toys and all that. So there's nothing you can do to prepare her as such.
And I would only say that if you want to prepare the child, in addition to what ma'am said, you don't prepare the child. Prepare yourself and your husband, because it is
Right.
often the anxiety that the parents have. We tend to transfer it to the child. So more calm you will remain and not talk about what will happen there. Teacher kaisa hoga or school kaisa hoga. बच्चा adjust कर पाएगा कि नहीं कर पाएगा. Avoid such anxieties in front of the child. Rest, child will do himself or herself. So don't worry about that.
Correct. Correct. Amitabh, I must tell you this hilarious thing,
Yeah,
children, when they're dropped off, I mean, the first week, say, of nursery, when the
right.
first week, 10 days, when they're dropped off, the mother hugs them. The father is also most of the time accompanying. They both hug and say, Rona mat, and I think Rona was last thing on the child's mind. But hearing
Right,
that, she enters the school and she starts bawling. All right.
right,
One child starts crying. it is like it's like the COVID. It spreads. All right.
Right.
Yes. So before you know it, everybody. So you're right. The parents have to prepare themselves that eventually, when school opens, my baby
Right.
is going to go to a big school. All right. So the
Right.
parents need to mentally prepare themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, sometimes in my workshops with parents, I dramatize and I share that it looks like जिस दिन आप बच्चे को छोड़ने जाते हो, दिल वाले दुल्हनिया का last scene where
Ah, yeah,
Shahrukh is hanging his hand out and Kajol उसको
yeah,
पकड़ने के लिए दौड़ती है और father कहता है जा सिमरन जा. So it's
yeah.
more or less that kind of a thing. Father and the child or the mother and the child holding their hands, not wanting to release yet wanting to release with that kind of a dilemma and transferring all their anxiety to the child. But I think the parents need to, as you quite rightly said, ma'am, it's about parents handling their anxiety than the child being prepared. We have here a few queries jumping in now. We have Anu Agarwal says that my daughter is in class 7 in same school. Children are getting scared seeing the news. I explained her but can't give any advice to her. Can you help? I have my take on it as a
You know,
psychologist, but I would like to hear it from you. I repeat the question for your benefit. My daughter is in class 7, and children are getting, same age children are getting scared seeing the news of Corona and COVID. And I explained to her, but can you give some advice? I would add to it, ma'am, we are getting a lot of appointments parents are seeking because we got a few days back a parent uh, called up at our number to fix an online counseling appointment. Where the challenge was that it was a younger child here. It is a child is in class 7, 8 or 9 years of age of child, and child is finding it difficult to sleep in the night and suddenly trying going off to sleep and suddenly waking up saying corona corona and that is the kind of thing which is happening. I think she's referring to similar kind of situation in her house and in friends circle as well. So I have as a psychologist my take, but I would like your opinion first before I put my bit to it.
my thinking on this is, Amitabh, did she say how old the child is?
She says same school in class 7. That means around 12 years
In
of
class,
age.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
12
So
years or
old
11
enough
years.
actually to understand. Old
Yeah,
enough to understand. I would, one thing is I would sort of, I think we're experiencing it in my family, a family of adults, that if you hear the news incessantly, the same thing is being repeated over and over again, and it is a very frightening picture, number one, and
yeah,
also number two, very confusing depending on which channel you're listening to.
absolutely.
Right. So
Absolutely.
if that news watching can be limited to some extent, you need to
Absolutely.
watch, and the child also should have the facts. I mean, she's old enough to know what's happening in her city, what is happening in her country. All right. But this it is this incessant watching. The TV is playing all the time, either this channel or that channel, and the
Very
same
true.
thing being discussed over and over again. This overdose, I think, is very emotionally disturbing.
Totally agree with you, ma'am, and that's exactly the recommendation that we are making to parents. Whether it is an adult or a child, as you quite rightly said, everyone will have the same effect if you keep on listening to the news. And friends,
Right.
anxiety, one of the biggest cause, in my opinion, is the anticipation and more negative anticipation that you are going to indulge in, more anxious you are going to
Mm.
get. And right now, how does it help if you hear that it is 11,080 in the morning and it is 12,010 in the evening, and then you are giving an expression, देखो आज एक दिन में 100 बढ़ गए, एक दिन में 25 बढ़ गए. I think these conversation has bigger impact on the child and in our house, we have made some very simple rules, even in our WhatsApp and other social media groups that we are connected to with friends. We have made a very simple rule. A, we don't watch too many news. At best, one in the morning and one in the night. And generally, whenever we are
Correct.
watching,
Correct.
we are
Correct.
ensuring that the kids are not sitting with us at that time when we are looking at. We involve them once in a while so that their habit for the news is there. They are generally aware, and we talk very positive when such news come, rather than saying, "Arey, yahan pe bhi ho gaya, arey, wahan pe bhi ho gaya." Then the WhatsApp
No, no, no.
groups keeps on flashing there.
Yeah.
You wanted to say
And
something, maybe? Yes.
also, we are getting a lot of fake news, I think, on WhatsApp forwards. All
Absolutely.
right. I think we should not share them in the family. Suno ye kya bol raha hai, and then narrate that whole thing. A lot of it is fake. A lot of it
I
is exaggerated.
I'll honestly confess, ma'am, when the things have begun, even I shared some videos which came from here and there. And I shared it
Right, right.
with my friend who's at the helm of affairs in the police. You know, I would not, well, I don't have his permission, so I won't take his name here. So I, have forwarded some videos to him, and he immediately responded back, Amitabh, the place and the date it is showing, it is not from Calcutta. It is not during these COVID times. There are a lot of things which are otherwise. And he specifically told me this is from this place and this date because their research and analysis wing is working on that. So,
Right,
there
right.
are a lot of fake news. And then even if there is a real news that comes that, uh, you know, uh, 20 houses away from my house, somebody is, or in Salt Lake, somebody is being diagnosed with corona. Friends, I don't think we need to psych it up and make a big issue and agenda in conversation while kids are around, because that is going to
Correct.
add to their anxiety.
Yeah. And this way, we started this program, Amitabh, by
Yeah,
saying be positive in this time.
right,
Any child who is showing anxiety, she needs
right,
a lot of positive reassurance. I mean, if
absolutely,
you look at, say, in a country, you have 10,000 cases, but you have that many more which are not COVID cases.
right,
You know,
right,
we are so
right,
caught up with the negative news that we forget
right,
the other side of the picture. So many
absolutely,
people are recovering. So many people are not haven't contacted the disease. We must be reassuring. We must be positive to children,
right,
because if as
and
adults, Amitabh, I feel that we are suffering anxiety. We are. I
right,
mean,
right,
look at myself, because I have
right,
two very elderly parents in the house. I have
very
bouts
much
of
so.
total panic. you
Right,
know
right,
but
right,
most of the time you talk yourself
right,
out of it. You
absolutely.
reassure yourself that it is a very bad situation, but there is ray of hope. There's not just a ray, there is big hope at the
There's
end
a
of
big
it.
hope, and see, as the statistics go by, the people who are surviving are more than the people who are not surviving because of this, and it's just about
Correct,
2.5 to
correct.
3% people who suffer. And if I take the liberty of saying, there are more number of people dying out of road accidents, if we go by the numbers, than the what we are having in corona. It's just that, yes, we need to be cautious. Accidents do not forewarn you. Luckily, corona has forewarned us that stay home and stay cautious so that you can stay safe. But then I think they have we can protect ourselves from it. Hence, we are trying to protect. Had it been accident, the figures would have been more. If we go, it's just that the accident figures we are not hyping in the media this big way, so it is not. Otherwise, you and I will stop going out on the roads from tomorrow, because number of road accidents death are much more. But then that is just
So
to explain the concept that let's stay optimistic and positive. There are a lot of questions are coming, ma'am, but then I think we have somewhere to stop. There are
yes,
many of our
yes.
friends who have queries, and the way the questions are now building up, I think I said it to my speaker in the previous episode as well, Mr. Anuj Agarwal, that probably I'll have to get him one more time because questions started building
Mm.
up. He was an amazing speaker. So are you, and the questions are building up. People are connecting. Maybe we'll have to get you back one more time. We have Rama Agarwal. My daughter is in class one. Make her read books. But of late, she's losing her interest in book reading as previously she had. The motivation. Friends, I think every good thing has to come to an end. We may not be able to respond to all the queries right now, but I promise if ma'am agrees and time allows, we'll After a few more episodes, we may request her to be back with us. And there are other resource persons who will also be in position to respond to your queries. And I can tell you that HLS counselors and psychologists, which is our partner as organization for the school times, is always more than willing to help you out. You can, if you have any stress and anxiety or anything, feel free to get connected to us through our website, that is www.hlsindia.org. You can connect, send a message on School Times, it will be forwarded to us as well. You can also call on 98311 Friends, this number which I'm giving you, trust me, there are people working from home. That does not mean you can call all the time. So try and keep the working hours. If you want to call, fix up a time, drop a message. We'll connect back to you for sure. So we'll be there with you in these trying times in whatever way that we can help you out. And ma'am, we can I request you as a closing words, your message to parents, your teachers, as well as students, not just yours, but people across. People are seeing us in India and beyond as well right now. So, whatever message you would like to give.
Yeah, my message is very simple. Be safe, and main thing is be positive. This too will pass, and we'll get back our old lives, and our old lives will be better because we will emerge as better persons at the end of this isolation. So, my good wishes to everybody. I know people must be taking precautions. Don't stop on that. Don't get frustrated. Just look at the positive side of life, and we will emerge from this better than when we were when the way we were when we went into lockdown. That is my real belief, and I hope and pray for the best for everybody. Thank you, Amitabh, for having me on this show. It has
Thank
been
you
a real
so much.
pleasure, and I will be very happy to join up with you anytime in the future that you want me to. Thank you,
Uh,
and thank you to all our
Ma'am, thank you
viewers,
so much
all
for
those who logged in.
thank you so much for accepting our invite to be part of Ed Talks with Amitabh at the School Times channel. And audience viewers, I must tell you, we had connectivity issue, and why we got delayed was because I am not visible to Sharmila ji at the moment throughout this introduction. And but then because I could see her on my screen and broadcast it together, she very kindly enough, sweetly enough, agreed. And not even for a minute, it appeared that you can't see us. I think that that's what experience is all about. Thank you so much for braving
Thank you, Amitabh. Every we can all end on a funny note. You know, this entire interview, I spoke to myself because that is the only thing I can see on the screen.
it. And
I can only see
I
my
would,
own face.
ma'am, I'll send you the link so that you can see it through. I'll
Okay,
talk to you
thank
after the
you.
episode. And so I would, for
Thank
my
you.
audience
Bye
and
bye.
viewers, thank you so much for being with us in this journey. School Times has a commitment through this Ed Talks with Amitabh. We are going to bring you a professional every alternate days in our Staying Positive COVID series. In the first episode, inaugural episode, we had Mr. Anuj Agarwal. Today we had Ms. Sharmila Bose. Day after tomorrow, on Wednesday, we are going to have Ms. Anita Pauline Day from Varanasi. From Bombay, we had connected to Calcutta, and we are going to have on Wednesday Miss Anita Pauline Day, the owner, founder, and the principal of W.S. Smith Memorial School from Varanasi. We will get a perspective, her point of view also in this talk. With a line of a song to conclude the day, जिंदगी प्यार की दो चार घड़ी होती है. Friends, भगवान ने, समय ने, वक्त ने हमको अपने परिवार के साथ ये दो घड़ी से ज्यादा दे दी है. इसको प्यार से निभाइए, अपनी फैमिली बॉन्डिंग को स्ट्रेंथन कीजिए. स्टे होम एंड स्टे सेफ. Right now, we are connecting home to home, and we are connecting from heart to heart. दिल से दिल तक का ये सफर जारी रहेगा. मिलेंगे same time at 4 p.m. on Wednesday 22nd with Anita Pauline Day as our guest on the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless. Take care. Thank you, ma'am.